Now it's rain. Is very good.
Now it's raining.
Oh, great. Perfect.
Yeah, you too. Don't worry. If you want rain, we have plenty for it.
Like this? You want to say hi?
Yeah, so last fall when Matteo came to the US, we went down to the South. We went down to Atlanta and we went to South Carolina for a week, basically. And we got to talking because we know how much he loves champagne, you know, and he has the Interrotto wines, the Chardonnay and the Pinot Noir champagne method wines that are not disgorged, that are really awesome. And Matteo was talking to me about his ideas, you know, and I was talking with him and Eric, who works for us down in the Southeast, and we started chatting and we were like, you know, what do you think of planting other Chardonnay or champagne grape variety? And, you know, we thought maybe it would be kind of cool, and so did Furlani, to experiment and plant some Pinot Meunier. So yeah. They're planting some Pinot Meunier. What is it? Un ettaro, meno di un ettaro?
No, meno di un ettaro, a little.
A little parcel that his father owned, an old parcel that they took out the old vines that they were done anyway, and planting new rows of vines, and they're going to train them in the pergola Trentina. This
double pergola. This the Bijom is double pergola.
Great.
Yes.
And then so one day we'll have maybe a Pinot Meunier Pednat or Interrotto.
Yes.
Very cool.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We try to do our best.
Brava.
So you just planted that vineyard in the last little bit?
No, today.
Today.
Yes.
Very productive.
Yeah, good for you.
You stay in Abruzzo.
You were in Abruzzo too?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, what's your name?
Mike.
Mike?
Yeah.
Ian.
Yes.
Okay. Because I used to write and post on Instagram, so I am behind.
Okay.
So sometimes,
sometimes
some guys ask me, "How are you, Matteo? And what are you doing now?" I call Matteo, what are you doing now? I'm glad. Okay, back. Okay. You know, you can do anything. You can do all the things. So I support him as I can.
Oh yeah.
So I have to know you.
Yeah. He's like Adriana. She actually runs the company, and me and Matteo do whatever we do. I don't know what we do, but yeah.
Well, when Fortnight posts anything about wine, it's usually either Mike or myself, just so you know.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Perfect.
Now,
I'm usually drinking it.
Yeah, Mackenzie's usually drinking it.
Oh, hey, how are you?
She's also a part of the. Well,
hi.
Does Liz post on Instagram?
Sometimes.
I don't think really.
I don't. Mac.
So did you guys do wine club yesterday pickup? Is that when it would have been?
Yeah. Yeah, we did pick up yesterday.
And what did you put a Furlani wine in this week?
Yeah, so everyone who picked up wine this week has the 2018
Except for me.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's drinking really, really well.
Is everybody liking it?
Yeah.
Very much so.
It's really
very
nice.
good.
Very nice.
So I'll let
everyone
Matteo
eat. It's so great.
because it's a really cool grape variety, but that vintage that you guys are drinking is the first time it was ever made.
Yeah.
So
wow.
And the first harvest that went into the bottle. And so Matteo, you talk a little bit about the Juanita vineyard and the variety, the grape. Matteo.
The grape from Juanita?
Yeah.
The Juanita, the grape is Juanita grapes. It's one of very old grapes from the south of the Germany and the north of the Swiss. and it's very particularity because it's a total resistant, and I don't spray.
Right.
I don't spray in all the year.
Right.
Nothing.
You don't even have to put copper sulfate on it. No.
What, Matt? Sorry.
No, you don't even have to put the copper sulfate. No.
No, no,
no spray.
no, absolutely not.
And harvesting. Yeah.
Anche nella raccolta.
La potatura e la vendemmia.
No, infatti. No, esatto.
The Joanita is in the front, in the garden of the agriturismo for the holiday farm.
Yeah.
It's close. Is near. Sì.
And this year, then 2020, one other new vineyard of Joanita, circa 4,000 meters. This year is the first vintage. 2020 is the first vintage for this new vineyard.
Cool. So a little bit more Joanita every vintage for the next couple of years. Because I have here a sample that you sent me in the mail and it arrived, and it is the 2019 Joanita, and it is the second vintage that you ever made, and I'm about to try it for the first time. But we talked a little bit because since this was a grape variety that, of course, you have never worked with before in the vineyard or in the cantina, it's a learning process. You have to understand how to work with the vine, work with the grapes in the cellar. And, you said that you maybe did some more racking, some more travasi, or something different, more macerations. What did you change or learn from vintage to vintage in 18 and 19, the differences?
Yes. And the new Joanita, now is the maturation with the skin contact. It's a little because it's only 2-3 days. Because when the first year I have tried for 1 week, 10 days with the skin contact, but
it was
too much green and is no the balance.
It was not balanced.
No good.
No.
Yeah.
Now I will try with a little skin contact, only 2 days. Yes.
Only 2 days.
And I think is better for the more flower and more fruit.
Not perfumes and aromas.
Oh yeah. It's really good. It's really. It's more like that citrus, like grapefruit tone. Pompalmo, agrumi, etc.
Yes.
Più fresco. No reduction. I remember at the beginning of the vintage early, 1 year ago, right now, let's say, the Joanita was a little bit reduced because it was fresh. I don't know how that's tasting right now, but I've tasted it over the course of the year, and it's been, of course, different bottle to bottle, but it seemed to have improved over time.
Yeah, it's drinking so well right now.
Right.
Yeah, all the reduction is totally like phased away, and the fruit and the like salty mineral quality is really.
I agree. It involved. It's like shifts slightly each month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because it's changed. It changed it.
Mm-hmm.
Every moon.
Now I love it now.
Yeah.
Maybe it depends. Every year and every vintage change the situation, and maybe
in the cellar I don't use chemical because I don't use sulfite or other antioxidant. Other chemical, and when I rack the wine, I make more attention for no oxygen the wine. Right. Sometimes it's possible the wine is a little ridotto, reduced.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's more dangerous the oxygen for the wine.
Yeah.
So
because I don't find you don't find the fruit and the perfume and the aroma for the grapes. But every year I change, and every year I cerco,
I try.
I try for a better work.
Sì.
Yeah. You also in the 20, I think it was 18 and 2019, you got the new bottling machine, which is brand new. Which before, so was the first vintage with the guy bottling machine 2018 or 2019?
2019.
Yeah, 2019.
So
here,
allora, the last year, the vintage 28 is half. I have a half bottle. I use the manual machine, and for the other half bottle, I have used the guide machine.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, it's the first experience.
Sure.
And this year, the 2020, this bottling is better because I have a work very good with the machine. I don't have a problem.
I didn't
have. And the regolazioni.
No, it was.
Regolazioni della macchina.
Like learning how to adjust it.
The machine worked very in a good way.
Very calibrated,
very good,
and
very well.
You can tell because like these little details matter. I know, like as an importer, I sort of deal with this a little bit more, but it does make a big difference in the end products because you're like there's more bubbles, they're more consistent. You know, all the fills are the same in the bottles. You know, these things that are like really artisanal that people love to be like, oh, that's cute, but it's also like, yeah, but this bottle's full and that bottle's half empty, and like it's nice to see. But it was a really cool. It's really cool. I think. I mean, all the new Furlanis I just tried from him that he sent me are tasting awesome. So, yeah, good work, Matteo. Good vintage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And dopo we have changed the bottle. Because the bottle is a little more heavy and it is more resistant for a little more fraction. The little more fraction is good for the
pressure,
for
more
the
pressure,
wine.
more bar.
Yes.
More bar means that is a good solution. We try to see the best way to bottle as we bought the new machine, and about the wine we try to see and check it out all the time, all the phases.
Kat, what's that? That's not Juanita.
This is Rosso Frizzante.
Oh, nice.
This was what I had at home.
Like Katy.
I love it.
It's
Rosso.
I have a question, or maybe two questions.
Okay.
It's two questions, really. Well, I wanted to ask, I feel like you guys work with so many different grapes, and you make a very similar style of wine. It's, you know, I guess more or less the same style of wine with many different grapes. And I feel like vintage after vintage, you're able to sort of, there's like a continuity between all of the wines and their respective grapes and how you end up with a certain like weight and body and style. And so I was wondering if maybe like you could sort of talk about like what you do to sort of like what you do in terms of winemaking to make each wine sort of like align in its style, even though they're such different grapes.
I translate. Lui dice, tu hai tanti tipi di uve, però tu hai uno stile, come fai a tenere questo stile e come fai ad avere più o meno tutti i vini che sono simili, cioè non come offesa ma come piacere, ovviamente. Matt,
allora.
Io ho capito bene perché voglio rispondere bene. Lui chiede, Ecco, lui chiede...
come tu immagini un vino e l'uva e il freno.
Esatto, lui fai a lavorarla che hai tanti tipi di uve, ma hai uno stile che è unico, giusto? Cioè per tutti i vini.
Yes.
Okay.
Allora, fortuna si dice? Lucky.
Lucky.
Allora, I have one big farm because I have more vineyard in my farm.
A lot of vineyard.
A lot of vineyard. And I picking for my seller circa il 20% of my vineyard. All the other grapes I send in one other.
I sell.
I sell in one other seller. And for me,
a cooperative. We have
one big seller in Trento.
Seller in Trento. So,
and
così.
For me, the moment for the vintage, I go every day and taste the grapes, taste the bunch in all the different vineyards. And when for me the bunch is because it's very good, the fruit, the skin is heavy.
No, it's strong.
Strong, and the seed inside is a little brown. For me, this is the moment, the best moment for the picking the grapes.
Of any grape varietal.
Tutti.
Yes, this is my system for all the grapes. And all my wine is circa 11.5 the alcohol in the bottle. And I pick in the grapes when I have circa 11 grad.
No, degrees.
11 degrees.
Right.
This moment usually is the end of August or the first day for the September. Right. And usually in this moment in the north of Italy, we have the sun, is no rain, and is very good for the quality for the grapes. And for me, the moment for the vintage is the best moment when the fruit is very good in my month. Yes.
So.
And when I picking the grapes, we picking all the farm is manual picking. We picking with the manual, and we put the grapes in the bins. Is a box, circa 100 kilogram for one box, circa. And in 2 hours, the grapes is in the cellar.
Right. So the process is very fast in that moment.
Keep the grape cool.
You can keep the freshness and la freschezza,
exactly,
the freshness, the color, the aromas, the perfumes, all the stuff. And he is a lucky man. He's a lucky man. Yes, he's a lucky man. Yes, absolutely. Trust me.
I have the cellar in the mountain because my cellar is 700 meters
on sea level.
Because we stay in the mountain. In the end of August and September, the temperature outside, because I work the first fermentation for all the wine is outside the cellar. We have the temperature in the night is 4-5 degrees. In the day is maximum 16 degrees. And this is very good because the alcoholic fermentation goes slow. And when the alcoholic fermentation goes low with the little temperature, is very good for the light and the perfume and the smell.
No, the perfume and
the
aromas
is very fresh.
Right.
The temperature in the alcoholic fermentation maybe go high, maybe 28 or 26 degrees. The wine, you don't find usually the fruit, but you find the marmalade.
Right. Marmalade, no, jam. Sì.
Jam.
Yeah, of course.
Jam jar.
Okay.
Sì.
Hey, my cat.
him.
Wait,
Il gatto
is your cat by the only cat?
The cat's all puffed up.
Wow.
Pent up by the Furlani.
Cos'è successo, Matt?
No, i due gatti giocano.
Doesn't sound like Giocano.
Giocano. Yeah, they just woke up from their naps.
Ian, I'm trying to figure out how to screen share a photo of the Juanita vineyard.
I'll do it for you. The one that you
Can
just.
you do it? Yeah, if I text it to you. I was trying to text it to myself so I could put it on my screen.
I was going to say too, Ian, that's really interesting thing, and I'll ask Matteo to talk a little more about it. But I think from what I've talked with him over the years is that it's like, of course, the harvest times are important for each grape variety. They're kind of unique in when they ripen, from parcel to parcel and from grape variety to grape variety. So you choose that moment. But then in the vineyard, I think Matteo would say that every vintage you have to sort of evaluate maybe the skin density, you know, the texture of the skins, the ripeness of the seeds. And then you make a choice of how much skin contact you might want to do, etc. So is that right, Matteo? So every year you have to maybe choose, okay, with the Rosato, the Pinot Noir, I have to make less skin maceration this year because it's maybe a little bit right.
Yes.
This is the vineyard of the Juanita.
Yep, the Juanita. That
The
was
Juanita, yes.
3 anni fa.
Brava. I miss you.
I miss you so much.
So much.
That's one of my favorite views in Italy right there. It's really
It's a great view. Look at that.
A really great view. I want to go there.
I sent Ian other photos too to share with people of some of the other vineyards, but you can see this was right after you had planted, I think. This was baby vineyard.
Go find that.
Babies.
Ian, I think I sent you to one of. Did I send you the nursery yet?
Oh,
yeah, look at those the little babies.
I'm going.
Go, Ian, go.
The nursery for the Juanita, yes.
Yes.
Juanita.
Yes. Every year in this place is circa 200 new plants.
See, in this parcel, a little parcel that we dedicate to the news, the
driveway,
the new
experiment for the babies.
Yes, for the babies, exactly.
There's Monte Cagul, okay.
Esatto, bravo.
And
bravo.
This is Pergola Centina here. This type of trellising that they have, classic in Trentino.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And also some pictures of you. There's lots of apple trees too.
Oh yeah, apples and cherries.
Cherries.
Did you send me apple trees? Ah, okay.
Oh, there's something. And ecco qua.
There's some cheese.
Formaggio.
Yes.
Gorgonzola.
Gorgonzola cheese.
Am I supposed to be seeing? Oh, okay.
But Matteo's favorite cheese is that classic one from northern Italy. What is it called? Philadelphia?
Yes. No, there's Philadelphia. There's il Gorgonzola.
Yeah.
And then what did you try? All.
I made the zuppa Furlani.
Bravo.
Orzo.
Con l'orzo.
Yes. Barley soup is really classic dish up in Trentino. It's really simple vegetable soup, and when we go on the trips to Italy, they're very taxing on everything, on all the systems. But when you go to Furlani, maybe he gets his mom to make us some really nice soup, and I call it the zuppa Furlani because it's like rejuvenating soup. So you need this soup. So we can all make zuppa Furlani with some really good spelt, find the really good farro or barley, and vegetables like leek, celery, onions, carrots, and it's really good. It's soothing, and it goes with Juanita.
Jan, the other question. No, yeah. Are you understand all? Would you like to ask more?
I think so. The other question I had was maybe meant to be before that question. I don't really know, but I was just going to ask, like, if you could sort of explain where the sparkling winemaking falls between method champenois winemaking and, you know, method ancestral pet nat making, because I know that it's not quite either. And I get confused about exactly what's being done too, but some people here might be, because it's not pet nat. I mean, the wines are like, they very much, because they're under crown cap and because they are a little bit less disgorged, like they like appear to be pet nats, but they're not.
E praticamente per te che cos'è, se riesci a capire puoi spiegargli che cos'è il tuo metodo, perché è un po' ancestrale, un po' pet nat, un po' biodynamic.
Oh.
We found Matt to help us, but
yeah, or if Matt wants to explain it, he probably also could.
No, it's good. Let Matteo tell you how he does it.
Okay.
Allora,
siamo nel mezzo, no? We are in the middle.
Sì. I have a studying. I have a studying in my school is from enologic and agronomy and technical from agriculture and enologic. And when I finished the school, I go for one experience in Australia, in the north of Sydney, in Cessnock, and later I start one very long experience here in Trentino in one in Cesarini Sforza. Cesarini is one seller, big company for the Metodo Champenoise, Metodo Champenoise and Metodo Charmat. In Cesarini, I have understand
and
this, learned this system, and later when I start my cellar, I start with the Metodo Champenoise because my first wine is the Metodo Interrotto, Brut and Rosé. Infatti, is the first collaboration with Matt is the Metodo Interrotto.
Yep.
Only later I have tried with use the other grapes, not only Chardonnay, not only Pinot Noir, but I start with the Juanit, the Verde Barbara and the Lagarino Bianco. I start working with the Pinot Gris, Nosiola, Juanite, the red grapes, and I have tried and I have find my road.
Sì, sì. So we are in the middle because it really is we reassumed all the little part, no, all the little pieces. He learned a lot from the seller that used to sell classic method, and then pet nat was a really biodynamic. We used to talk with a guy, a winemaker that produce biodynamic from I don't know how many years. So he really put all together and try to really mix this. So I know it's difficult to explain, but really we are in the middle.
Yeah. So tell us about let's start with the Interrotto wines. There's two Interrotto wines. That's not what these wine that we're tasting right now is. This is the Interrotto, which in Italian basically translates to interrupted, means stopped. And it's a method that is almost exactly like champenoise, method champenoise, but it's not finalized. It's not disgorged. It's not clarified, not sugared. So it's basically, I always sort of say it was sort of like proto champagne. It was sort of like sort of the basic elements of champagne, but without the final clarification. But so you make that wine is a little bit of an homage to the two grape varieties, Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, the champagne wines, grapes that grow in Trentino since when? The 1970s or so was when the Pinot Nero and
2000.
No, in the valley, in Trentino.
Trentino.
1987 with Giulio Ferrari.
So
Okay.
no, 1960? 67.
Yes. With the Giulio Ferrari.
Yeah, so it was the 60s and 70s when Pinot Noir and Chardonnay really were brought to Trentino. And I think it's like two things. It's like, on one hand, it was a good thing because there was a demand for kind of champagne method wines and metodo classico wines, which is champagne, with these Chardonnay and Pinot Noir champagne varieties. But the sort of unintended consequences of that were grape varieties like Noziola, Marzemino, Lagarino Bianco, Verde Albara, all got sidelined to make room to plant things like Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and down in the valley floor, Pinot Grigio and Moscato and things. So, but those two wines, Matteo, you make is a Metro Interrotto. Tell us a little bit about how you make the Interrotto, because it's different, because the wine stays in the lees, well, it's eventually permanently on the lees. Descrive un po' il Metro Interrotto.
The method interrotto is Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. It's circa 80% Chardonnay and 20% Pinot Noir. It's the same blend in the white, in the brut, and in the rosé. The difference is only the little time for the skin contact of the Pinot Noir.
For the rosé.
So,
yes, in the rosé.
Rilascia vuol dire release.
Yeah.
Rilascia, ok. No.
Le fecce.
Sì. Sì, che rilasciano anche il colore.
Yes. So that wine, you take it and you do primary fermentation just like the other wines, and then it ages in the tank, and then you do a re-fermentation in the bottle, but then you never disgorge, but you make more pressure in the Interrotto versus the antique varieties.
Yes. In the Interrotto, I have 5 bar. Yeah. Invece in all the frizzanti, Joannisa and the other, I have 3 bar, 3.2.
Yeah.
This is the range usually. Yes.
They stay for a lot of time in a big tank.
Yeah, steel tank.
Not steel tank, but dopo we bottle.
Yeah.
But they stanno nei cassoni.
Sì, stay in the cellar for 2 years.
For 2 years. So really involved and became
wines. Yeah,
completely and creamy and completely another product.
Right,
because they stay.
Then you release them 2 years later and they're totally evolved. And then the concept when you started making the frizzantes like we have today, we have the Alpino, we have the Joannizza, we have the Rosato, the
Antico,
and the Rosso. Those are all, the concept with those that you created was to use those wines with more antique native grape varieties, right? Things like the Joannizza or Noziola, or the Rosso has all different red grapes in it, Turca, Marzemino, and
and very young.
Yes,
young because they can involve, but you can live there because of the cap.
Sure.
But the project was was a project because we wanted to have a wine that was very glue, very easy to drink, and in a different way. you drink in a different way. I
So
love
the metodo per I frizzanti is to tell us, Matteo, you take wine, you fermentation with the skins for either all of the alcoholic fermentation or part of the alcoholic primary fermentation. And then the wines are still wines, right? Viniferri.
Yes.
Then the wines age in the tank over the winter.
Yes.
And also you take sometimes the tanks and put them right outside during the late winter in, say, January, and the wines will in tanks that will decant and get very clean, really clear.
Yes, perfect.
And then you bottle the wines, but you have some must that you've conserved from from the harvest.
For the vintage, yes.
Yes, and freeze.
And you make basically a type of tête de cuve, a type of starter, and you bottle it with
very small. Very small.
Yeah.
And that's where you were talking about when you harvest the grapes at around 11% alcohol and the finished wine is around 11.5% alcohol. That's because that extra half degree of alcohol is coming from that secondary fermentation in the bottle.
Yes. Yes. Correct. Yes. Perfect.
So it's type of, like you were saying, Ian, it's not ancestrale, which is sort of maybe bottled with some of the primary sugar of the first fermentation. You know, sort of like the Cellario's Grinozza is a true ancestrale wine where he bottles it like with a little bit of still sugar in the wine and then it finishes. But you can only get a little bit of frizzante level. I mean, you can get more. It depends on what your bottle you're going to put it in.
Yeah.
But
and when you bottle
but this is sort of in between. It's not quite champenoise, and it's not quite what we'd say ancestrale. But it's a way that, from what I've learned, it allows you to make the wines more even keeled, right? Because you have this base wine that is like one entity that you understand, and then you can really dial in exactly where you want the sparkling amount to be, you know, and so that it's a little more I hate to say homogeneous, but it's more homogeneous because if you get an ancestrale wine, you all know you can have wines that don't re-ferment, you can have wines that explode in the cellar. Like it's a very unpredictable method sometimes, you know.
Biodynamic because when we have to bottle, we look at the moon.
Yeah.
Yes, we check and we follow the phases of the moon. So it's really, we try to catch, learn, and put all together to try to have a good product. But he is a lucky man. No, I used to say when I met him 15 years ago, really, I know he is lucky. I know, and I know.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's very difficult to have all the chance, giusto? Chance, sì, di avere la chance.
Choices.
Yeah. So it's not so easy, no? It's not so. And sometimes I really say, wow, how do you do it? How did you do it?
It's a big job. It's been really amazing for me, and I think for all of us that have been, you know, drinking your wines since really early days, you know, to watch the evolution of the wines and the process all the time. I think it's a really, you know, Matteo said, I think it's a really important part of Matteo and the Furlani story as a whole, because, you know, Matteo had a really serious education in viticulture and in agriculture. You know, this was a program that takes 6-7 years to do. This is not just like a, you know, an online course. And it's, you know, and it's also.
Well, maybe it is now.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where it's also not sort of very just abstract winemaking. You know, I've always talked about Matteo's wines as being sort of like techno-natural. And what I always mean by that is that they're really sound, really focused, really intentionally made wines that are, I'm not saying they're perfect, there's reduction here and there's this there, but, he understands all the elements, both from a conventional standpoint, which is what they'll teach you in school, to what he has chosen to do, which is, not conventional wine, which is pure natural wine. So I think that's a really important piece of it, because, I think that gives Furlani's wines the success they have, like the joy that they have to drink, is because they're fun to drink, they're complex, but they're also really, they're reliable wines too. They have become more,
I think it's maybe worth just talking a little bit about that technique that of adding reserved frozen must and what that allows you to do as a winemaker versus what sort of pet nat is.
Sure.
And I think something people don't always totally understand is that pet nat, you're really at the mercy of the primary fermentation. And if you want it to be sparkling, you bottle it when there's enough sugar left in the primary fermentation so that it bubbles. That's how you do it. And what Matteo was able to do with this technique is, instead of having to bottle it when the amount of sugar in the wine is correct, no matter where the wine is at in its evolution or what's going on with the ferment or what he wants to do with the base wine, he can wait until he's made a base wine that he's comfortable with. But at the same time, you don't have to add a bunch of cane sugar and yeast to make a beautiful sparkling wine. You can use just the juice of the harvest. And it's a really interesting and intelligent, and I think really smart way to kind of split the difference of how do you make a sparkling wine that is also a natural wine without just being at the mercy of primary fermentation. I've always thought it's a really brilliant way to make sparkling wine.
It is, and the way you said that too made me think of that wine, that base wine, while it's going through that primary fermentation. When you taste wines that are in fermentation, it's so really, really hard to sort of know exactly where that's going to be tasting it, because you can do some bricks and some bubble and sort of know where it is, but it's hard to taste that wine and go, okay, that in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 3 months is going to be like this. So, capturing that essence is complicated. I like various, like, a lot of Italians use this method. I think it's a thing. I think it's something Italians also really like. They like things generally to be like a little bit more practical and sort of a little more understandable, rather than what I would call like laissez-faire natural winemaking, or just sort of like, it just happened and this is what it is. More problems like that sometimes, I mean, maybe some of you guys tasting with us know the wines from Salicetto in Emilia-Romagna, and they make wines just the same exact way, Lambrusco wines, in the same method. And years ago, Gianpaolo and Marcello were talking to me about this method, and my gut reaction back then, this is 10 years ago, was, that's not as natural as putting it in the bottle with residual sugar from the fermentation and sort of like letting it happen. But Gianpaolo, I'll never forget, he said to me, he's like, the reason why I don't do that is because then I would have a cellar full of 10,000 bottles that I don't know what they taste like. Like, every bottle is different. And he goes, I can't risk all that. He's like, I gotta eat, I gotta sustain this business. And he's like, I'd rather do it this way. It's still a natural method. All the pieces are still from that same wine. You're just sort of taking them apart and putting them back together at the right time.
I think it gives you a lot more options. I mean, if you're just throwing it in the bottle as soon as the residual sugar left in the ferment is correct, then you have a limited amount of skin contact. You have a limited amount of sort of large tank lees aging you can do. You have a limited amount of exposure to oxygen you're able to give the wine if you want. You have a lot of options. You can make a lot of different things, and
you can make it a still wine. This is the Moni.
Yeah.
And
I want to taste that.
Yeah. This Moni, like, do you want it to be sparkling or do you want it to be still? You can still make this wine sparkling if you want. You know, he just takes the mug out and put it in the bottle and have a skin contact white wine that's not sparkling. And so he left it as still wine. And here we have a new wine. So, you know, that option is totally on point. You know, you have way more options.
I mean, we shamelessly stole that method to make the sparkling wine the bar makes. So
nice. It's good. It's a way to do it. It's a good way. You guys.
Non ho capito cosa ha detto Mike.
So Mike just made wine this past vintage using the same method.
An 18.
Ah, sì?
No.
Ah, wow. Okay, now I understand.
Took your method.
Yeah.
What's it called? Wine called? I haven't had it.
18 is just called Fizz, and I don't know what 19 is called yet because it's actually we're actually adding the frozen must to it like Monday-ish.
Yeah.
Great.
It's still in tank.
Vero?
Very good.
Ma per Matt, loro hanno quindi sia il bar che dei...
Ian ha una fattoria proprio con
esatto.
E anche un vigneto e loro producono un po' di vino.
Ok, e ha fatto le prove adesso col mosto rifrigerato?
Sì, esatto.
Esatto, ok.
Now
we understand.
Matt. Green
c'è un altro.
Non sono le vini di Ian e Mike.
È un produttore, comprano uva da un produttore di Rhode Island.
E fanno loro il vino and you make the wine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ok, now I understand, sorry.
Ha rabuto il tuo metodo.
Cosa? No, non ho capito.
Neanche io.
What did
they say?
Ha rabuto il tuo metodo.
Rubato. Ha
rubato il tuo metodo.
Rubato il tuo metodo.
Com'è stata? Robert.
Visto?
Robert. Ha rubato il tuo metodo.
Matteo.
Bravo, hai ragione.
Ci sono alcune cose che sono importanti.
Brava.
Matteo, cos'è? Il Furlani rosso 20. This is a brand new wine. I have never tried it before. It's called Rosso 20. And I'm pretending that it's made with 20 different grape varieties, but I don't know that. I'm just making it up. So
very Italian.
Yeah. What Matteo, parli un po' di questo rosso.
Allora, the first is the bottle is not this. Is not white, but it's one in the when I put the wine in the future. I think in the next month I am bottling the wine. This wine I put in one green bottle. In the bottle,
non si capisce.
Quella bottiglia del Tirol, che cottura, come si chiama? Borgognotta. In Borgognotta.
Se non è questa la giusta.
Esatto. We change in the Borgognotta green with the cork.
Ok. Dilla te. La sai o no?
Yeah, okay, so he'll put it in a different Burgundy bottle with a cork in it. But what's the wine? What's the wine?
This wine is one mix with
mash.
Yes,
No.
with all the grapes from my farm. Stay inside.
I was right.
We don't know the grapes.
Esatto. Carbener, is a little Merlot, is a little Cabernet, is a little Negrara, a little Turca. Is a mix with all the grapes.
All the Furlani grapes.
Yes.
All right, good. Well, we'll try it. I'm not going to try it right now because I'm drinking this Tornitza, but I wanted to know what it was.
And the label in the front is one paint my daughter, Alessia.
She did it. She did this cool label. It's just psychedelic enough to be a Furlani wine. I love it. Scarlett's back. She's back. All right. Are you
where the coming from?
So, Furlani, did the container leave today?
Yes, today leave today.
Nice.
I think. Allora, aspetta.
Hi, Scarlett.
Niente. Maybe later I send you the picture with the first container for me.
Right. So we
it's
just got
first experience.
All the new Furlani stuff just left today. Come on. And we've got the Juanizza on there, the Alpino,
Macerato,
Macerato, and the Rosato.
Rosato Pinot Noir, yes. It's four different.
It's all coming. All coming.
So in a few months we can do this all again with the 20.
Exactly. When everything arrives, we'll do this again. We'll open them all up, and that'll be fun. I'm excited.
I think in the program I'm 5 of May. Maggio.
Sì,
May.
of 5th of May.
5th of
15th.
May. Start the boat, la nave.
The ship.
The ship. Yes. And arrive in New York. I'm 15.
15th of May.
Yes.
Yeah, it's our first full container of Furlani wines. It's a big deal. 22.
Wow.
A lot of fucking wine.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll be great for last pours, you know?
Super well.
Matt, Ian asked how many pallets is on that container.
22.
Holy shit.
In a container. Yeah.
That's a lot of Furlani wine.
A lot of Furlani.
That's the amount of Furlani wine that we need.
Yeah, we do need
that.
We're gonna need that.
Yes.
I'm excited. You know, the Furlani wines are always like an expression like of spring and summer, and they're really joyous and delicious wines to drink, especially if it ever gets warm out. I mean, it's so gross out. So we're looking forward to them, Matteo and Annalisa, the new releases of the new Frizzante. Maybe a month and a half they'll be here.
A part of us will be with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I ask a question about the Juanizza and the Juanita grape? I get a lot of like really sort of beautiful, like salty mineral quality in this wine. And I was wondering if you have a sense of if that's part of the way the grape is expressing itself, or part of the vineyard, or where do you think that like really salty mineral quality is coming from? It's like, it's very like oceanic almost, even though it's grown up in the mountains.
Allora, se ho capito bene, lui vuole sapere come mai è così salty, vabbè, ho capito, e minerale, se è dato dalla tipologia delle uve o da che cosa, è così?
Dal suolo, sì.
Esatto, è dal suolo e dalla pianta.
Esatto. The minerality in the...
Comes from?
Sale si chiama?
Salty.
The salty
is
from the soil. Because soil. In Trentino, in the...
Cosa che ti...
Ho detto from the soil, but also from the soul.
Esatto.
Just life in the bubble. Body by
Furlani.
Body by Furlani.
Yes.
In the soil.
From the soil.
From the soil. We have more rock, because in Trentino
calcareous.
We don't have the terra rossa, the red soil, argilla. we have very more rock, or calcaric or porphyric rock, because the mountain, the Dolomite, in the hill, in the hill, instead very a lot of calcaric rock and porphyric rock, and we have we don't have argilla. Argilla is correct?
Argilla, sì.
Clay.
Clay.
Yeah.
Sì.
Less clay,
But,
more.
We don't have the water in the vineyard.
No water.
Super dry. Yeah.
Okay.
That's one
Dry.
thing about, you know, you've been up there, and the elevation is really high on the side of these mountains, and the calcium rich soil, it doesn't retain any water. It really it drains a lot, especially underneath the soil. Of course, is big dolomite granite rock, right? And so the vineyards actually in the summer are very, very dry, and you know, thanks to the altitude, you get sort of this combination of that like ripeness and that the variety, as you know, I mean, I forget all the varieties that make up the hybrid, but it's got a Riesling background, doesn't it? And then it's also got some other like Sylvain, like almost varieties sort of in the blend there, right? And so it's sort of semi-aromatic, picks up on that calcium soil tone, and then, you know, with the ripeness of the area, you get that sort of like fleshy saltiness to it, but flowery. You know, it's a cool variety. It's cool. I mean, I don't have a lot to compare it to.
No.
No, infatti, è vero, I agree.
Yeah, it reminds me of that Blatterly, you know, sparkling Blatterly.
Because it has acid.
Blatterly.
Yeah.
Blatterly?
Yeah. Matteo, do you know we tried it, I think, together one time, the Heinrich Meyer Muserhof in Bolzano. He has a grape variety called Blatterly. Conosci il vitigno? Blatterly. È un autoctono di Bolzano.
No.
It's very rare as well, you know?
Male.
Is red or white?
It's white.
White.
Yeah. But it's fair. It's not a super different style than that.
Matt, please, can you repeat the name?
Blatterly.
Blatterly.
Yeah, it's a crazy grape variety. You guys know it?
Yeah. We sell the still one sometimes.
Yeah. He has a spark. No.
Yeah.
Oh, he does?
I don't know if he makes it like for real, but I mean, I know he's like, there's like stories about him playing with that too.
Yeah.
But the still one has like no acid.
No, it's flat. It's really, it is. I know. I have a bunch of old ones in my basement. I can go get one.
I mean, they're delicious, but there's like no acid. And like
no, his wines are, you know, because they're in the valley floor too.
Yeah.
So it's different.
Yeah.
Now, is delicious other acid?
But it doesn't have the acidity, Annalisa, that you would like. I think it's a little
more flat.
It has like almost like an Alsatian quality.
Yeah,
to it.
More
like,
Alsatian.
like very viscous and like creamy and textured, but it's not super like sharp and clean and like bright.
Okay, we will try. I will. We should, no?
Good to try all the different grapes.
Yes.
This is the Negrique. You want to talk about Negrara?
Yes, only Negrara, 100% Negrara.
Cool. I love this wine.
2018.
Yeah. It's a great grape variety. Negrara is spicy and light and herbaceous and something, you know, a little bit like maybe Schiava or something like this, like a type of variety, you know?
And
yes.
And Negrara is in no way related to Negrette.
Negrette?
È vero.
They're not related, right?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Cat? No.
But the sound.
Yeah, the sound is like
a false cognate, as it were.
Yeah. they tend to like because Negrara means like maybe blackness, so it has like a really deep colored. Because
exactly
in Piedmont, they have this grape called Neretta, which is what the Baffone, from Cillario is, and it's really dark and spicy kind of color,
Negrara is unknown. It's very autochthon.
Very rare, yeah, just native to that area.
Yeah, really. I come from another region, and I really didn't know about these grapes. But it's very.
Solo Cantina Furlani fa Negrara.
Only Cantina Furlani.
Infatti anche the name Negric and Negric and the non Negrara, because of the
non volevi usare
ma anche for the legislation.
No, about the law and the label. See.
They don't let you put Negrara on the grape variety, as the grape variety. That's why it has to be called Negric. That's the nickname.
Because it's one normal red wine. In the normal red wine, is not possible write in the label the name for the grapes.
Yeah, and that's why you call the wine Mino, the Mino of the Marzemino.
Marzemino.
Esatto.
The same.
Marzemino is a cool grape variety. I love Marzemino, and it's really, I can't wait. I haven't tried this new vintage, but this is only the second vintage of the still red 100% Marzemino. But what would you say, is it any, okay, the vintage was a little bit different. Did you do any different maceration, or is there any Bianco white wine in here? A little bit of white wine. I know last year there was a little bit of white wine.
I have used the same system for the last year.
Yeah.
The alcohol is the same. It's circa 10 days with the skin contact.
Cool.
And in the end, it's circa 5% with the white.
Bianco. Yeah, cool.
The white wine.
I can't wait to try it. It looks awesome.
The particularity for the Marzemino usually is very spicy, spicy grapes, and you find the fruit, and dopo is the post.
Anche abbastanza rotondo, no?
Sì.
Round.
Yeah.
Sì.
Is the first wine I have put for the new vintage in the bottle, because I think in the end of January it's ready.
Was ready, and it was the first that we bottled.
Yes.
Ready to drink. Cool.
Can you tell us a little bit of the differences you felt between 18 and 19, so we can have a sense of what to look forward to on this container full of wine?
Qual è la differenza tra il 18 e il 19 come annate?
Generalmente.
In generale.
Allora, I think it's
quite similar.
The two vintage.
See, we didn't have too many problems. No.
Is the different? Is more different we have in the spring.
Yes.
Because the 2019 is a lot of rain in the spring.
In the spring.
But in the summer, the temperature is high and is dry. More sun. No, it's too similar.
Quite.
Yes.
Quite the same.
You didn't have crazy heat in the summer. It wasn't like very, very, very hot.
Sorry, crazy?
It wasn't incredibly hot in the summer there?
No.
28.
Sì, 28, 29.
Sì. And we have a lot of wind, because every day after lunch.
It's very windy. It's very windy.
It's very windy.
Super windy.
Because we have the valley. The valley is very high. The valley with the river.
No, low.
Esatto. Sì.
Okay, low.
And they stay very a lot of
wind. It's very windy.
Yes. And we have the Garda Lake, and the Garda Lake is
famous for
the windsurf and the kite surf in the north of Italy, in Italy.
It helps us.
Yes.
Helps us.
This is very good for the temperature, for the control of the temperature, and for the good grapes and the
safety.
Esatto.
Healthy. Per la sanità.
Per la sanità.
Sì,
I was there in the fall last year, and like I didn't. Did we go to Furlani's place? No, we didn't go to Furlani's place in the fall last year, but we were everywhere else, and like just south of them, we were in the Veneto, and the harvest was a little bit later. Like at least in central Italy, everything was like a little longer hanging time on the vine, which was really good because they had a lot of healthy, especially for those white grapes. Like when we were down in central Italy, for example, in Umbria, all the farmers were talking about how it was like an old school or traditional vintage, like a vintage from like 50 years ago, in the sense that in central Italy, you used to traditionally, you'd harvest all the red grapes first, and then you'd harvest the white grapes, the Trebbiano, the Malvasia, because they would take a long time and they can stay on the vines, and the grape skins would continue to mature and get durable. And so the 2019 vintage was one of those type of vintages where the grapes could stay on the vines quite a long time. You had good diurnal shift temperatures during the day and night swing, and it was really helpful. Like I would say the vines and the grapes in 19, but like Furlani said, it was that springtime, last springtime, a year ago, like this week maybe. Furlani, you sent me that photo of the snowstorm, and you had a big flood in your cellar. You know
that picture.
Remember quando era tutta la cantina con l'acqua? Era l'anno scorso.
No, 2 years ago in November.
That was 2018?
18, yes, November 2008.
Wow.
It was a stay for one night, a very a lot of very strong wind. One big plant go down to the electricity cable. All the village stay. We don't have the electricity for 12 hours. Wow. And the rain, very lot of rain in the cellar, because the cellar is underground. I have the pump for the put the water outside. The pump, and I don't have the electricity, and stop the pump. The vigili del fuoco. Vigili del fuoco, come si chiamano?
Non mi ricordo.
Firemen.
Esatto. Coming with the pump, with the motor pump for help me for the put outside the water.
But then it was last year then that you had a late snowfall, because you send me photos of the cherry trees with snow.
The last year, 2019, and the first day of May, is esatto, snow.
That's what I'm saying. So last year, 2019, they had a really late snowfall, first week in May. Snowfall.
Yes. Anche the plant of the vinyl stay a little
the buds.
Yes, and the snow, but it's incredible, but no problem for the
no damage.
For the plant.
Yeah, that's good. It's like the snow is almost less of a problem than a real bad ice storm, because ice can or hail, it really damages, but the snow kind of insulates the vegetation on the vines.
Yeah, if it's gonna be cold, it might as well snow a little bit. It's a little
Yes. The ice is more dangerous, especially more in the Mediterranean climate. But that's another thing about the Giornizza vine itself, is that it was a hybrid that was really engineered in a way. They were selecting for late bud break and an earlier harvest. And so they were trying to get a variety that had a really short vegetal cycle. And so that was really important. And so that's actually part of the reason why he was tinkering with this grape, because of this shift that he sees in the climate each year. It's almost a lot like here, where the winter sort of lingers longer, and then the heat stays a little longer, or you get an earlier winter, you know, where everything gets shorter. Well, that was fun. You guys drinking all the wine? I have to save some for Adriana. She's not home.
Out of wine.
We drank all the wine.
Yeah,
Finish.
Wine is relative, like
Aperitivo.
Aperitivo. I forgot I have this.
One full bottle of Furlani. Aperitivo.
Aperitivo.
Oh, yeah.
What about you guys? What about this coronavirus damn situation?
Yeah, we're all in the same situation.
Yeah, I think it's probably like not too. It's pretty similar probably to what things are like there. Everything, you know, all the restaurants here are closed and everything. It's such a big like restaurant community.
And it's probably sort of similar to you as well, because we're close to like the worst place in the U.S., but we're like not there at all, and it's much better here.
No, because sorry, you are based in.
We're very close to the.
We're in Providence, Rhode Island, so we're just a few hours.
Providence.
We're a few hours from New York City.
Okay. Oh, so really? Aha. Okay.
Yeah, but so probably like for you too, it's like you're near Lombardy, but it's not really the same at all. Like we're much better off here.
Exactly.
The same of us, because
exactly.
Lombardia, Milan is very close, but not so much to bring us.
Right.
So very similar here.
So there are not such a high number of cases here, but the precautions that are being taken here are the same as in New York City.
Same everywhere.
Okay, the same.
Yeah.
Are they? I mean, I thought Italy and Spain were like complete lockdown. Like if you.
Oh, yeah, no, as in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't.
Luckily, in Italy, they've been able to go outside and do, you know, their farming work. You know, of course, they're allowed to like go to their vineyards and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been a little bit more restricted in terms of like outdoor exercise and stuff like that. Yeah, you're right about that. Whoever said that.
Yeah, but here in the state that we're in Rhode Island, even the parks and beaches and everything are closed. So people.
Yeah. But they're opening up this weekend.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
As us, like us, because from the 4th of May, we have some
reopening.
Reopening, exactly.
Yeah.
But you understand what happened or not? You understand or not?
Where? What about what?
About coronavirus. Why we have this kind of situation, so huge disaster?
Do we understand why? Like
why? Yes, you understand.
For you there in Italy, or just generally?
Generally.
Oh.
Because it's generally. We understand something.
I'm not sure if I know what you mean.
Do we understand why it happened?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
Okay.
Do you?
I think that one of the things about the United States compared to other countries is that it's the politics about how you respond to it, and we were very slow to respond to it. But on a state level, here in Rhode Island, we're much better off than most other states because we've responded to it much better. So we're testing more people than any other state in the United States, and so we're in a better position because we're actually responding to it better. But on a national level, we've responded very poorly. Also, the other similarity between Rhode Island and Italy is that we also have a higher percentage of elderly people in the country and less younger people. Than in, Italy is sort of the same situation where it's more older population, which
and
affects more directly.
Yeah.
You don't think it's about pollution?
Oh.
From
maybe
from company?
Not
Steel company?
I don't think
it definitely is an issue that is related to global warming and the lack of response to global warming. But that's my personal opinion.
No. I believe in you, and I agree. No. Yeah, and really learn about this lesson.
Oh yeah.
It's
but I think that I have met because I can like burattini, as you say, burattini.
Burattini.
Yeah, when you come si chiamano I Muppets? You know Muppets?
Oh, the Muppets. Yeah.
Okay. They are burattini. So we are Muppets in the hand of.
Yeah. It's like The Godfather. We're just being played.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yes, and we have to keep together and stay together and work together.
Yeah. No, I mean, for us, I think all of us are trying to just stay in good spirits, stay informed, make the right choices, and keep limiting as much exposure as possible. And yeah, it's just a great lesson in humanity. I think it was a way of telling the world to slow the fuck down, to be totally honest. But obviously this is a virus that has calamitous effects on the world, so it's not exactly the way we want to learn these lessons. But it's definitely part of the picture. I think we're all fortunate. Those guys are fortunate, like you said. They have their farm and their world, and like we have some wine, and yeah, we're just making do. And Scarlett's here. She's back. She has no idea what's going on.
Meravigliosa. She's marvelous.
But yeah. But anyway, guys, thank you for having all of us. This was fun.
Yeah, thanks for your time. Super nice of you.
Marvelous. Amazing.
Look forward to drinking wine with you again in person.
For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely, when the new wines come in, we'll do it again. When the new stuff arrives, and we'll get another chat going. It'll be fun.
Cool.
I can't wait for that large container.
On, totally. Pre-orders.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
guys. Good luck with your new vines.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Ciao.
Okay.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much.
Ciao.
All right.
Ciao.